Hi, I'm Jerry Ford and welcome to my studio and welcome to this month's edition of our Mug Rug of the Month Club. If you would like a copy of this design, then send me an email request to waltzquilt@yahoo.com and I'll be happy to send it to you. And if you would like to become a member of our 2024 Mug Rug of the Month Club, then again send me an email saying add me to the list. This design can be done on any 5x7 embroidery machine. Okay, for this project, you're going to need to have your 5x7 hoop. I have hooped my fabric with a tearaway stabilizer, but you could use a no-show mesh or even a wash away. It doesn't really matter. I like to use the Rinse Away Tearaway brand by Babylock because it acts like a tearaway, yet once you pull most of it away, the fibers that are trapped in the stitching will keep the integrity of the design intact through the washing process. It's actually my favorite tearaway to use. Okay, you're going to need a piece of batting about 5x7. You're going to need a piece of fabric. This is maybe about a 6x8 piece of fabric for your background. You need some matching fabric for the backing, and it can be two pieces of the same 6x8, and then you would fold it in half. And you need two of these, or if you just want to use one big one and then hem the sides, which is what I'm planning on doing, is just running a folded over edge, and that way it'll only be single layer. Like I said, oh, the batting. You need a 6x8 piece of batting, or about that, or you could use Insulbrite, which is a little better at resisting the heat. Okay, you're going to need, of course, the backing fabric. You're going to need a piece of, for the applique, the bunny part, I'm either going to use a leftover piece of fleece or some terry cloth. I haven't decided yet. You're going to need some clear iridescent mylar, and this one is, it'll glow different colors depending on what thread you're going to use. I got that one from the party store. And it comes in different colors. I like the clear because it will reflect whatever thread color you have. So if you're only going to get one of just an iridescent one. You can buy special mylar that's designed for machine embroidery online or at your local quilt or embroidery shop. And but I have found it's not much different than the stuff you get at the party store, and a whole lot cheaper. But, the choice is yours. Okay, it helps to have a piece of the dissolve away topping. And this one is by Sulky. But you only need a little piece of it because it's going to go over top of the fleece or the terry cloth bunny face. Okay, you're going to need thread colors in these following colors. I'm using a purple or a light lavender, yellow, a teal, orange, and of course black for the details on the face of the bunny. I almost forgot. You're going to need a fairly decent sharp pair of curved scissors. That will help you trim away the applique. You'll need some just little strips of fusible web to seal the back of the mug rug. If you like, you don't have to. You could hand sew it, or you could just simply leave it. I've loaded my design into the machine. It's a 5x7. You may need to rotate it 90 degrees. So it's just the stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this now. Okay. And this is the placement for the batting. Didn't pick up, but that's okay. It's just a placement stitch. I'm going to put my batting down so that it covers all of the stitching, and then we'll run color stop number 2. Okay, so next I'm going to trim away this excess batting. Along the outside edges of, see, I'm cutting away this excess outside of the seam line. This is easier if you take it off of the machine and put it on a table to cut it. It'll go a lot faster. So I will be right back. Okay, I've trimmed away all of the batting from outside of the seam line. That's to reduce the bulk on the finished mug rug. Okay, then I'm going to put my fabric, my background fabric, right sides up so that it covers all of the stitching and leaves at least a 1/2 inch seam allowance along the edges. I've switched to a light colored thread simply because when I put the mug rug together, I don't want to see the purple thread shadowing through because this is light fabric. So this is color stop number 3. And it's just going to tack down that fabric. Now I'm going to show you the placement for all of the mylar. You're going to put that mylar down all at the same time. So I'm going to just go ahead and stitch that out. It's going to be hard to see because it is light on light. Okay, this will take a while, so I'm going to let this stitch off camera and I will be right back. Okay, it's stitched out all of the placement for the mylar. So I am going to place my mylar on top so that it covers all of the letters. Sometimes one side is shinier than the other. I think I like that one better. Okay, and now I'm going to stitch color stop number 5, and that's going to tack down all of these letters. Again, this is going to take just as long as the last time, so I'm going to be right back. Okay, it has tacked down all of the mylar pieces, and so now we're ready to stitch the lettering. Okay, so the first one is going to be the H and the R, which are both in lavender, and this is going to be color stop number 6. And it's going to stitch a grid to protect the mylar from flaking off, and then seals down the edges. You do not need to remove this mylar at this time. I usually wait till almost near the end before I do that. And so what happens is that the reflective mylar and the iridescent color will pick up the color of the thread, and so that the whole letter will look purple without having to put color in there. Okay, I'll be back when this is done stitching. Okay, that's what the lavender looks like. The next color stop is going to be green, so I put green in the needle and I will stitch this one out. Okay, I will be back when this stitches out. Okay, there is the green E. So next is bright pink for the S. Oh, excuse me, it's the T. Okay, and again, I will be back when this is done stitching. Okay, I've finished the T. Next, it's going to do the A. Now, yes, this teal color shows up in 2 different places, but I've got a layering issue, so therefore, you're going to see this teal blue in 2 different hoopings. Okay, so let's go ahead and stitch that out. And then I will be back as soon as it stitches the A. Now it's done the A. Okay, I've got yellow in the needle, and we're going to do both the Y and the S. And again, this is going to be like watching paint dry, so let's go ahead and let this stitch out, and I will be right back. But you will notice that the mylar is picking up the color from the thread, so each letter looks like it's a different piece of mylar. That's why I like the iridescent one. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, you stitch the Y and the S, so now I'm going back to the teal to do the P in happy. Okay, the second teal letter is done. Next we put in orange. It's going to get the last two letters, which is the P and the E. Okay. And let it stitch along, and I will be back as soon as it's done stitching these. And then this is the last of our letters. Okay, it's finished stitching the lettering. So now we're ready to do the applique for the rabbit face. I've switched to white thread. My background fabric is an off-white, so I'm going to be using bright white for the rabbit, which is just a little scrap. You don't need much. If you have a bright white background, I'd probably use an off-white for the applique fabric for the bunny. So this is now color stop number 13, and this is going to give you the placement for the bunny face. I'm not going to take the mylar off. I'm just going to leave it there. You could take it off, but it's not necessary. And this is just the placement. I'm going to cover the stitching. That I'm not going to put any topping on here just yet. So I'm going to let it stitch out. I'm going to cut away from the outside of the applique piece. I'm going to do this on the table so I can get good and close to it. It helps to use a curved pair of scissors. But I will be back, okay, because I can't see this from this angle. All right, I have trimmed this away, got it as close as I could. I'm going to put a piece of this water-soluble topping on the top of it, just so that that satin stitch will have a nice smooth edge. And I'll go ahead and stitch this. Okay, it's stitching the satin stitch also along the outer edges of the rabbit, and I will be back as soon as it's done stitching. Okay, we finished stitching the outline of the bunny. So now it's going to stitch black. I'm going to put black on the machine in order to stitch out the eyes and the whiskers and the details. We're going to again leave that solvay on, don't take it off. You can probably hear it clicking away. Okay, got the eyes, the whiskers, and his little nose. Has a couple of jump stitches I'll need to cut later. And so I put white back in, and it's going to get the white of his eyes, and then we'll do the pink. Okay, it's done the eyes and the whiskers and the little nose. So next we're going to do the pink, which is going to get his nose and the inside of his ears. Okay, we've already stitched the white for the eyes, and so I'm going to remove the outer edge of the solvay. I'm not going to worry about getting details right now. And I want to remove the mylar from the outside. I'm not going to get too picky right now because I just want to remove this from the seam line. I just don't want this mylar caught. So I'm going to weed most of that out after this is done. But more importantly, I just wanted to get it out from the seam lines. Okay, now we're ready to stitch this thing together. So I've kept the white thread on from when I did the eyes. So I've taken my pieces here. I can either take the two pieces that were folded in half and use that as the backing, or I just stitched a single hem because I'm going to seal this up with fusible web. So I'm going to make sure that this covers all of the seam lines by at least 1/4 inch all the way around. Okay, and then this is right sides together, again putting this about 1/4 inch around. These are going to overlap by about 1/2 inch on the middle, or about 1 inch in the middle. At least 1 inch. You could do more than that, it doesn't matter. If you have a machine other than a Babylock or a Brother, what you want to do is you want to put some tape here and here. If you have a Babylock or a Brother embroidery machine, you have a walking feature on your machine, which means you don't have to be so careful. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch this until it gets close to this line, and then I'm going to stop. Okay, so here we go. Go close and then stop. Be ready to stop. Stop. Okay, so because with the walking feature, I can keep my finger on this button, on the start button, and just hold it. Okay, now it goes super slow. Okay, let's go. And I don't have to worry about it on the other side, so we're good. Okay. If you feel better taping it, go ahead and do so. All right, we're finished with the stitching on the machine. I'm going to take this to the table and I'm going to trim it, then turn it right sides out. Okay, I've taken it out of the hoop, and now I'm going to remove this outer layer of tearaway. I'm not going to take anything out of the middle. You can if you want to, but it's not necessary. Okay, I'm going to trim this 1/4 of an inch all the way around and clip my corners. Now I'm going to turn this right sides out. And I could give it a press, but you want to press it from the wrong side. If you see some stitching sticking out here, you can remove it or just leave it. It's going to blend right in. However, if it bothers you, and this will often happen with a lot of, turning projects where you've started the stitching and then later on you end up with seeing the stitching. When you're doing that first basting stitch, it might be helpful to use wash away thread in your needle, and therefore all you have to do is wet it and it will go away. Okay, so now I want to trim these little tiny jump stitches. All right, I'm going to remove as much of this salve as I can. If you can't get it out, all of it, just simply take a damp washcloth or something and just dab it and it will stick. This dissolve away topping will stick to your hand cloth, wet towel. And that way, see, now you can fluff him up. I'm just going to leave it for now. I also want to take out all of this here between, all of the mylar in between. If you see any bits of mylar, just give them a tug. I need to go a little closer here. I didn't get quite so close, but it's okay if it's a little fuzzy on the outside. It is a rabbit, Okay, alrighty, and see, this comes out very, very easily. Now notice, not sure if it's showing up on camera really well, but doesn't it look like I've got lavender inside the H? And see, the orange is reflected by here, so the mylar looks all different colors, even though it's all the same mylar. And you might want to have something damp that's got a lot of static to it. When you remove this outer edges, then you can really see how it picks up the color of the thread inside of the letters. Okay, and I'll finish picking that out. Okay, here it is, it's finished. Turned out really cute. So once I've given it a nice press and peeled out everything now, isn't that interesting how the mylar has picked up the color from the thread? I really like that. That's why I like to use the iridescent clear mylar. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over and I'm just going to clip a little bit of this, which is a fusible web. Put a medium iron. not real hot, because you don't want to melt the mylar. Tuck in the fusible web and just fuse it together, and now it is fused shut and looks great. Okay, here, don't want to burn my table, so I'm just going to set that there for a few seconds. Give this a really nice press. Okay, all finished. That turned out colorful and cute, and any kid would love this. It's got just enough glitz to make it fancy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like a copy of this Easter mug rug, then send me an email request at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to send this to you along with the written instructions. If you would like to be a member of the Mug Rug of the Month Club, then send me an email request again at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to add you to the listing. So that's it for now. Until next month. Bye.